When the lights go on again all over the world, and the boys come home again all over the world.
1, 2, 3, 4. Hi, this is Mike.
And this is Fran.
And this is Mike and Fran Unrehearsed, January 1st, 2023.
Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year. We are absolutely thrilled to be back on 216 The Net. You can now listen to us on TuneIn, Apple Music, Anchor FM, and 216 The Net. We are coming at you guys from the frozen tundra of Lake Barrington shores. Right, Mom?
Well, if I'm allowed to talk about it, I've been freezing since Wednesday.
Wednesday?
It isn't that we didn't have or call somebody. The person came out and didn't know how to work our unit.
Yeah, can you believe that?
And they were coming the next day, and they got canceled. It was in the holiday. Now they don't come till Monday. It was okay one day on that. It was 59.
We thought we were
next day
smart.
It was 22.
We thought we were smart, and we got the Sears Master Protection Warranty for all of our home appliances.
Well, Dad had it.
Well, we had it for many, 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 many years, and people say, well, how much do you pay for that? You pay $800 a year, and do you ever use it to replace anything? Yeah. Well, they say it's too expensive. They'd rather just pay. But with the Sears Master Protection Agreement, what'll happen is they'll actually go above and beyond what the normal rate is of what a replacement is, and they'll replace it, entirely, and even spend more than like the cap rate that's on there sometimes. So that's a good thing. The problem we had is we waited 2 days for a guy to come out, and this is really interesting. It's been really cold in Chicago, okay? Really, really, really cold, like 20 degrees.
The weekend before, it was 23 below.
All right, very cold.
We were
very
lucky.
Cold, very cold. And guess what happened? It went up to 40, and then our heat went out on the same day. So what I'm saying is there's somebody up there that's watching out for us, and they saw that the heat was going to go out, and they made it happen on a day that made sense for us, because we would have froze our little tookies off, I think, right? I mean, what do you think?
Well, it was 23 below the weekend before.
Well, we would have had somewhere to go. We have a space heater in the basement, but Mom can't go down there.
We would have gone to our daughters.
She won't even step foot down there, but that's another story. Something I got to work on for this new year. Anyway. They sent a guy out, and he looks at it, and he goes, your unit is too new. And I'm like, excuse me? It's like 28 years old. He goes, I can't fix it. It's too new. It was probably configured differently or something. That's probably what he meant. Anyway, he said, I'll send a guy tomorrow. And are you sure? He goes, when do you want him to come? I want him to come today. He goes, I'll send him tomorrow. The next day comes. And what happens?
He didn't materialize.
Well, nothing happened. Yeah, I got a note on my email to say it's going to come on Monday, and then I spent an hour and a half with one guy telling him that I have a 90-year-old lady at home that needs to have heat, and he goes, "Oh, expedite it." I go, "Tell me, what does that mean?" I'm going to send a guy today. Really? Are you? Seriously? No, nothing. Hour and a half with him, hour and a half with another guy, and I still got nothing. So what are you going to do? You wait, you freeze, put some blankets on. I have a new way to deal with the cold. This is what I do. I take the biggest, thickest blankets that we have that Mom uses on the couch here. I put them in the dryer for like 10 minutes. And then I put them on her.
Oh, they feel great.
And she goes, oh, that feels
like heaven.
How did that feel?
Yeah.
I came home the other night, and I put it on you when you were sleeping, and you woke up.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
Most people would say, why don't you go somewhere else? I have 2 daughters. But just the hassle of packing things up and going, and we do our stuff from here. Hey, it hasn't been that cold.
No, not really.
Today I think it's around 40.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's 60 degrees in here. It hasn't dropped below that. But tomorrow he's supposed to come, and hopefully we'll have heat again.
Okay.
So that will be a good thing.
I won't crab about it anymore. I'm sitting here with blankets, sweaters, gloves, etc.
You'll be fine.
I'll be fine.
How's that tea? Is that still warm?
No, it lost its scoop.
Sorry.
It's everything you pour out cools off in the house immediately.
You know what's weird is taking a hot shower and feeling the cold water on your shoulders, and I keep turning to go back in the hot shower because they're cold. It's just weird. I don't know. Hey, I wanted you guys to know that eXp Realty is sponsoring the Mike and Fran Unrehearsed program. And what does that mean for you guys? That means you have access to folks that buy homes for cash. They're called iBuyers. And what they do is they buy homes that meet certain criteria, fix them up and sell them, or they buy them and hold on to them if all the numbers work. So we crunch the numbers, we see what happens. You get in and out of a home really quick without any problems. Another thing we can do is if you want sort of a traditional listing, one thing that we can do is crunch that 3-month time cycle down to like 2 weeks. We call it online bidding. And you can only get that through eXp Realty and the partners that I work with eXp Realty. So basically what it is you're selling a home and you have an open house for 3 days, and all the realtors and all their clients come through the home during that 3 days, and after that nobody sees the home and they start online bidding. So they bid against each other online. So they see if they really wanted that home, they have to outbid this guy or outbid that guy or get this guy. And what they do is they start the bidding at 15% lower than what you would normally list the home at. Why do they do that? To bring some attention to the home. Let's get in there and start bidding. And you know what happens? You wind up getting over and above the list price every single time. It works like a charm. It's kind of new in the Midwest. They're doing it out in California, but you know what? We're doing it here too, and we can do it in any state. So if you want to sell your home and you don't want to worry about the long process of listing the home and having people come in and taking the kids out and all this kind of stuff and get the highest price for your home, we can do that with eXp Realty. So if you want to find out more, go to mikeandfranradio.com, and there will be a photo of eXp Realty that you can click on and find out more information. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hey, I want to let you guys know that we're trying to follow a simple format for our show so that you can tune in every week to learn about current events.
What we think about them.
Yeah, what we think about current events. Headlines, sports, local, national, all this stuff we like to talk about.
Or life in general.
Life in general, that's right. That's our current events section. And then Mom loves doing crossword puzzles. She's a pro at it. I'm not so good. We're going to go over one, and you'll see how good she is and how not so good I am. How many of you guys do crossword puzzles? Oh, wait. I can't see any hands up. Do you see any hands up, Mom? Let me just say this. If you do crossword puzzles, you know how to do them, and you get better at them as you do them. Me, I never do them. I'm not really that good at them. I'm not really a reader that much. That probably would help too. I do read the paper. But anyway, Mom does them every day, and she's a pro. And we're going to have a little segment on that.
Well, only on certain.
Yeah.
The certain ones written from certain companies have different flavor.
Yeah, well...
like the ones in the Herald have a lot of slang and off-words and things. The Tribune is harder to do.
Right.
There's different levels of crossword puzzles.
Okay, but tell everybody which one you like to do.
Well, I snap through the Herald.
You snap through the Herald.
That's the one I do all the time.
And you just said it uses a lot of slang, so what does that mean?
Well, like a loafer, a cad, calling names used for people and things like that. You know, like slang terminology more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's more up your alley than maybe something else.
Well, it also asks geographical things. It has.
Well, you're very knowledgeable.
Very interesting.
Woman.
I have a wide vocabulary and background, so
you do.
They're not that hard.
So we're going to have a segment on current events, headlines, sports. We'll do a little bit on crossword puzzles. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about my Uber driving because I love to drive for Uber, and I'll tell you why. Because I meet so many interesting people. I mean, yeah, I have a daytime job, and I do this in the evening. I used to do it after rush hour was over, and I had a lot of fun because people were coming in town or coming back in town or visiting, tell them what pizza place to go to, all that kind of fun stuff.
Well, the interesting thing is he comes home and relates to me the interesting people he meets, like the lady from Trinidad.
Oh, my God.
With the excellent, marvelous
I could have listened to her all day with that British accent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was beautiful. It was really beautiful.
Yeah.
And I made sure to tell her that right when I got her luggage out of the back, and she slipped me a $20 bill. Did I tell you that?
You think there was an ulterior motive?
By accident.
There?
It was completely by accident.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love people, and you meet all kind of people, and I just want to say this. The stories about the things that happen in Uber cars kind of stays in an Uber car, but I'm going to open up that door for you guys, and you're going to learn about all the things that happen, because I'm going to say this. You can't make this shit up. You just can't.
Oh, people
make
are
it
most
up.
interesting.
You think this, you think that. What's the worst thing that happened? You wouldn't even believe. How long do you have? Really? 5 minutes? That's not long enough, because I'm going to tell you something that you would never believe happened in an Uber.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. And then I actually have a YouTube page now dedicated to my Uber story, so I'm going to be doing that as well. And where are you going to find that? MikeandFranRadio.com. MikeandFranRadio.com. So, first of all, I want to do another reintroduction of Mom and Michael. So, Mom, introduce yourself.
I am, I won't say an older person. I think I'm always the same person I always was inside. Mm-hmm. In a few weeks, I'll be 96.
That's right.
Love life, everything going on. I couldn't leave this world without knowing what's going to happen to all the things. I'm so nosy.
Yeah.
But I am from Pioneer Stock in Oregon.
Right.
My grandfather took the wagon train out in the 1840s, 50s, and into Eugene, and was the first lawyer, teacher, etc. And my father was in World War I, the first Air Corps there ever was. Went up to Canada and joined before the U.S. had one, 22nd Aero Squadron. I grew up in a 500-acre farm in Santa Clara outside of Eugene, the eldest of 5 kids. My mother and father worked very hard, and when I graduated from the University of Oregon, I worked at Kaufman Brothers, and then I came back to Chicago. Met my husband from New Jersey, married 1955, had 5 kids, and ended up being a teacher for many years.
That's right.
Unfortunately, what I am most proud of, I was one of the outstanding teachers in the U.S. at one time.
You were.
Teaching is, the most marvelous thing in the world. I hated to retire when I was like 68. It was very difficult. But anyway, this is me. I have a fabulous background. I like to be interested in everything, and my son and I, who is in the acting and has a lot of credits behind him, got into making the radio show.
Well, it actually came out of COVID. So this is a fantastic thing that really happened for us. This show came out of COVID. So everybody is networking, right? Everybody is networking online because they're not doing it in person. Well, there was a group that I was with called Cup of Joe Networking Group. If it wasn't for COVID, we might not be doing this show, Mom. What do you think about that? That's kind of interesting. Anyway, during COVID, people were not going face-to-face. They were doing everything online, and they're still doing that now. That's another thing that kind of came out of COVID because that's ongoing and that's not going to stop. But a lot of people were coming out of the woodwork to network because they could do it now on Zoom. So instead of going an hour to go to a network event like my Cup of Joe meeting on Monday mornings, you would go online. And who shut up? Peter Galt, Uncle Pete from 216 The Net. And he was looking for new ideas for radio shows. And I'm like, ding, 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 ding. Said, I have a mom that's pretty interesting, and we kind of, kid each other here and there, and it goes back and forth, and it's all in fun, and we yell and scream and holler, and then we start over again, and we forget all about it. And that's just kind of how it is. And I have a really great relationship with my mom, and I'm really happy that I do. And I realize that not a lot of people have that. And I want to share Mom with everybody out there. That's basically where that came from. But we started doing the show a year ago, and we did it for about 52 episodes, I think it was. Well, it was once a week, but so it was more than that. But we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun doing that show. We had about 150,000 people tuning in.
It was interesting.
There was
yes.
3 million people listening to 216.
Yes.
Now there's 5 million. Now there's up to, 26 million or 30 million?
Yes.
30 million people
yes.
that are going to be listening to our show, which is fantastic.
Yep.
So we decided to get back involved. We took a year off, and here we are.
Well,
back
it wasn't quite a year off. We took some time off.
It was about that. It was about a year in October it was that we stopped. Anyway, God bless Uncle Pete for getting us started. He was a very talented guy, and we're more than happy to work with Kent Jones and all the folks over there at 216 Net. And we are just thrilled to have the opportunity to help build up a great, fantastic listener base out there. And we love to chat, and I want to share Mom, Fran, the other part of Mike and Fran, Unrehearsed, with anybody that wants to listen. And if you guys want to send in some questions, we were doing that at one time. You could go to
in the beginning.
You can go to my website and do that at mikeandfriendradio.com, or you can do that at 216 of that as well. But more on that later. But I wanted to tell you a little bit more about where I came from. So I was born a couple of years ago.
1959.
You didn't hear that, did you?
Yep. Nope.
Anyway, I'm a middle child. I'm the firstborn male. And I had an Italian father, so I don't have to say anything more about that. So, basically, when I was 14, 1 year before I started driver's ed, Dad took me out driving, and my sister still kills me for that, who's 3 years older than me, because you never took me out, Dad, when I went, and I'm sitting there in the parking lot, and they said, pull the brake release, and the hood popped up, and I was so embarrassed I could never look anybody in the eye. But that didn't happen to Michael because you took him out, and then you're driving by the lake and hit a deer before I even had a license. She would never let me forget that. That's what you do with your son, right? Your first son. I don't remember, but I remember you telling me that when the girls were born, you got a little bouquet of flowers. And what happened when Michael was born?
Oh, red roses, because having a son to the Italian male was so important.
That's right.
And then he had later on Vincent,
anyway,
so he had 2 sons and 3 daughters.
My dad was a film editor for Channel 2 News, which was a very interesting position.
Yeah.
He worked his way up through night school in New Jersey, and folks were saying, Jimmy, go to Chicago. They're hiring people at WBM. This was like 1953, maybe, something like that. He went to Chicago, got a job as a film editor. One of his friends knew Mom, I think, and they connected there. And my dad had this movie star kind of look on him. I mean, he was a very attractive Italian guy with
very beautiful
teeth.
Smile.
He was just, oh my God. His mom met an Italian guy and it was all over, I guess. Yeah. I don't know what happened. Yeah. So we settled in. We had,
5 children.
5 children there. I'm the middle child, and middle child people are kind of like, the mediator in the family, try to make things work. The older child would complain later on that they never had a childhood because she took care of the other children. And then the younger child is like stepping over the toys because I don't have to pick them up because everybody else will pick them up, right? Kind of. But the middle child is like somewhere in between that. But being the first boy, the middle child, I think was a great thing for me, and it worked out good. So for some reason, I didn't get involved with what Dad was doing at the TV station, although I could
wish you had, he said later.
I could have got involved with maybe, I don't know, being a sportcaster or a film editor or something. Maybe I could have been like a news anchor, Mom. How about that? That would have been cool.
Yeah, we used to go down and visit with Bill Curtis and Walter Jacobson when they were the big thing on Channel 2.
They were the biggest thing that ever hit Channel 2.
But you went on to college to become an engineer.
The funniest thing is I was like, I don't know, I want to do something different. I didn't want to tag on to Dad's coattails, and he never really encouraged me to do that either. I mean, we never really had this kind of talk. I was 16, 17, 18 years old. I was sort of technically minded. I thought I would like engineering, so I studied engineering at Southern Illinois University. Of course, I was on the 6-year plan because there's a lot more to do down there than go to school. But I did graduate. I got a job at Northrop, a defense contractor. It took me 7 years to figure out I'm not going to fit in a company that big where you're like a little small little pin in a huge wheel and never really get noticed or anything like that. So I started to turn on my creative kind of mind, and I started doing some acting and improv and Second City, and I still have an agent today. I do some bit parts here and there. I do some mock trials that are coming up real soon. So we work with the kids in the law school, colleges, to let them practice, and then that's fun. And we can talk about that too a little bit, because you're on trial and you know what they want to do, but they don't know how to do it, and you have to just sit there and let them pull teeth. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it brought us to where we are today. I'm sort of an entrepreneur. I'm involved in a couple different businesses. I help small businesses with federal tax incentives, the ERTC benefits. All this stuff is on my website, guys. If you have a company with W-2s and you need to cash in on up to $26,000 for the W-2 employees, let me know, because all we do is crunch some numbers. I do referrals. I send people to Hawaii. This is going to be great. I want to send all you guys somewhere nice and warm, because it's kind of chilly up here in Chicago right now. Anyway, I'm talking too much, Mom.
Well, I would like to say that on our first broadcast, we'd like to mention the people that all passed away last year.
Let's do that.
Michael, you have a list of some out that you were...
So since this is January 1st, 2023, we have to talk about all the folks that we lost last year. And up until just a couple of days ago, even, there was some pretty popular people, and it was very shocking. But when I heard that Ann Hesh had that accident, I was really sad, because Ann Hesh and I share the same birthday, May 25th, Gemini. And I was kind of saddened by that. She lived a kind of tormented life, that woman, but she was very, very talented. And then when Bob Saget died, that was very sad, because I'm around that age, and I don't even know if they still know what happened there. It was a shock to everybody, I think. The ones that stand out to me were Chrissy Alley, Louis Anderson. Oh my God! Do you think that these people would be around forever? Fred Ward was a really good actor guy in a lot of different films, and then of course you've got
Angela Lansbury.
Now Angela Lansbury was someone that you were sort of confused with when you were younger, right?
Yeah, they sort of felt I resembled her a lot.
I could see that.
She was a good actress.
I could see that.
Queen Elizabeth, of course.
Now, we used to follow the Queen because the Queen had corgis, we had corgis.
Oh, yes.
There's 1 year difference between Mom and the Queen.
Yep.
The Queen was 1 year older, right?
Yes.
And Mom was very close, and it was very sad when we lost the Queen. And now Mom is the Queen. So.
Well, I also think that Pope Benedict and Barbara Walters just recently were the two most recent deaths.
That's right.
Of the year, and reading a little bit of the controversy with the Pope, who some people in the U.S. felt they should have been more severe with the child molestation.
I know.
But that's all things.
He's gone now. He's gone.
He was a very revered person.
He was.
And we're Catholic, so yeah.
And Barbara Walters, so all the interviews she had and everything, she had the one with Clint Eastwood, and he's like, well, maybe we should give it a go. I'm like, really? He said that to her? I thought that was kind of funny.
She was one of a kind.
She opened the doors for women in broadcasting. I mean, come on, all the people that are on there now.
Could get $1 million.
Oh my God! Well, she let them see that this was possible to do, and now there's all these other folks that are doing this because of her, because she's a woman.
She was a pioneer.
She made it happen, and she even said her personal life might have suffered a little bit, but she wouldn't have had it any other way. And she wouldn't have been the Barbara Walters that we all know and love.
Well, she was 93, I think.
Yeah.
And the Pope was 95.
A mere spring chicken, according to your standards.
Well, yep.
Yeah. So another one that was surprising to me was Ray Liotta and Paul Sorvino, because I love those guys, and like, the films that they're in, Goodfellas, I mean, it was like, how could both of those guys die in the same year? It doesn't seem right. Anyway, it was sad. It was a sad year for a lot of people. Olivia Newton-John, Naomi Judd.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. And how about Lieutenant Uhura from Star Trek?
Yes, always liked
Nichols.
him.
I love that woman.
Always.
She was a trailblazer.
Liked her.
She really was. All right, so I wanted to tell you guys how my Uber driving was on New Year's Eve. And guess what? I made $500. That's right. I made a little over $500 because they had a spiff where if you hit 11 rides from 6 to 11 and then 11 rides from 11 to 4, you got an extra like $350, okay? So it was worth it to me. So normally I like longer rides because I don't drive that much. But in this case, I wanted shorter rides. So I'm driving all these kids to these parties around here, and it was kind of fun. The first couple were kind of early to bed, but they're a little tipsy when they got in the car and kind of like a little more vocal than your typical elderly couple coming out of a restaurant. But we started chatting about some of my interesting passengers, and this is what I told her. I said, you know why I do Uber? She goes, why? Because I get to see all these wonderful people, and I love performing a public service by getting people from A to B safely. And it's a good thing to do because people really appreciate it, especially on New Year's Eve, right?
But doing it with an electric car is a cross around your neck sometimes.
So I have a Kia Soul EV. It's a baby EV because it only goes a max of 111 miles on a full charge. But you never get a full charge out of the level 3 charges. You only get like 80%, which when it's cold out is like 60 miles. And so Christmas, we had Christmas
took us 3.5 hours to get home from the city.
At my nephew's house in Chicago, Ryan and Martha. And we're coming back. It's usually about an hour ride. How long did it take us, Mom?
3.5 hours.
And why was that?
Well, we had to drop Nick off at his apartment.
Okay.
Then we had to juice up.
Yeah.
Went to the place, then the thing didn't work.
It didn't work.
Went to another place, thing didn't work.
Didn't work.
Found it that worked, had to sit there 25 minutes. Then we drove Lisa home. Then we had to juice up again.
Juice up.
Had to look for it at 3 or 4 places because they don't all have the same equipment for his car. Or they're always broken.
That's it.
They've really got to work on these in the future to get the U.S. up to this.
Let's just say it's not ready for prime time, okay?
Well, we at 11:15, sitting in one of the stations, were singing all the Christmas carols from the Holy Name Cathedral at the top of our voices. Holy, holy. Singing there.
We listened to Father Supich
11:15
on Holy Name Cathedral, recorded on the Comcast from 9:30 in the morning because we didn't listen to it.
Yeah.
And then we played it later on while we're waiting for the car to charge.
Yeah, we were singing all this.
But you remember on the way there when we had the heat off, we had the fan off. It was freezing in the car, and I couldn't see where I was driving. I had to wipe my glove on the window to see where I was going. Everything was frosting over. We thought we were going to die. And then we pulled up at this thing, and we had probably like 10 miles left to our name, and miraculously it worked. So
we got home between 11:30 and 11:45.
A 3.5 hour drive from Chicago back to here, but we made it.
It was an experience.
We made it. And now you know what it's like to drive an EV in the winter.
Well, you have to get one that has a 200
mile range
capacity
or 300
range. This is ridiculous. The heater takes energy.
I know, Ma. I know. You're driving downhill and you put it in neutral, and I got it down to a science, but I do not like driving up to a charger with like 6 miles left. That is not what I want to do, and I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
Anyway, things are going to get better because it will eventually get warmer, but I'll only drive when it's like 30 degrees and warmer, okay?
Yep.
So don't let me out there if it's any colder than
No,
All right?
no. Okay. I know from experience.
All right. Sounds good.
I have the frozen shin bones.
I know. Oh, it'll never happen again.
Yep.
All right. So, that's it, folks. I think we're out of time. Thank you so much
Happy
for letting
New
us
Year.
come back on 216 tonight.
We'll have heat next time.
That's right. We will.
I'll be warmer.
We will. Happy New Year to everybody.
So long.
All right, you guys. Take care. And
bye-bye.
Happy New Year.